The following may contain language which will be offensive to some people and inappropriate for children. Still here? Then pour your favorite beverage and let's get this fucking show started.
Forum, assemble! You're watching Fantastic Forum, the premier show about comic books and your live weekly conversation about entertainment and geek culture. We are the Fantastic Forum, coming to you live and direct from the Hall of F. Hope you're having a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night, as the case may be, depending on where you are in the world. And if you're not, you stick with us. We'll help you take it up a notch. You have the usual suspects in the building. First, he is our intrepid senior reporter. He's next in line for the cowl. He's our resident Dark Knight detective. It's Oz.
Stuffed full of cheesecake today, too.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Next, he's the backbone, the pillar, the strength of Fantastic Forum, our nigh invulnerable brawler and resident strongman, Moses Magnum.
I like cheesecake.
I love cheesecake. Like, I'll see what I can do about that, Moses. I'll see what I can do about that. And as for myself, my name's Lawrence Young. They call me Mayor Young. Welcome to a Fantastic Forum. Shout out to Jay. He's running late, but he'll be here in a little bit. But yeah, we got a great show for you today. We are going to be talking to you all about, well, I guess I was going to say a plethora, but it's not really a plethora. It's just a pair of HBO Max shows. so it's two, but we're going to have a lot to say about both, I'm sure. First being the premiere of Velma. So the Scooby-Doo series reboot or adult animated Scooby-Doo franchise, something or other, however you want to call it. And then next, we'll be talking to you about PlayStation Productions' The Last of Us. So we got all that happening, and of course, whatever else it is that you all want to talk about, and we'll tell you how it is. You can get down with Fantastic Forum in just a moment. But before we do that, we want to make sure that we thank Mr. Scott Rubin, because without him, the show would not have happened. So thank you, Scott Rubin. Hope you're doing well, good sir. And with that said, we should go ahead and let our fantastic intern tell you how it is you can be a part of the show.
Want to get in on the action? Call Fantastic Forum on Skype and join the fun. Too shy to call in? That's okay. You can join the Discord chat room available at
fantasticforum.live.
Join the party. You know you want to.
Indeed. Thank you, intern. Appreciate you. Go to fantasticforum.live if you want to be a part of the show. You can jump on, or if you want to watch us, you can get the links to watch us on YouTube, on Twitch, and you can be a part of the show. We'll take your comments directly out of chat and bring them into the show, such as Moses, can you insert witty chat comment here? Thank you, sir. Tiger Claw, what's he talking about?
He says, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on Velma, because a lot of people hate it. It apparently is too woke, LOL.
Right.
And,
well,
yeah.
You'll be hearing those opinions, Tiger Claw.
One of the weirdest opinions I heard, I don't know if we're jumping into it, but it struck me that this particular group and person was offended because of the anti-drug message. But they called it vitriol against stoners. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I gotta see this. And well, look, I'll get to my opinion on that, being a stoner myself and someone prone to offense. But yeah, that was one of the weird takes I got from
yeah. Indeed. So cool, yeah, but I guess before we jump into it, just how are you guys doing? Like, Mo, how have you been feeling, man? Like, I feel like I haven't seen you in many moons.
I've been okay. A little stressed out. My turtle Winky, he had a prolapse, so his intestines were coming out of his cloaca.
And, really?
Yeah, I kind of dozed off and then woke up and then I looked over and his water was red. And I'm like, what the fuck? I thought it was
Oh,
like red algae or something. That happens.
yeah.
And especially with the rainwater and stuff in his, because I have an outdoor tank for him to get sun. So sometime maybe something got on the shell and it just
Yeah.
developed with here. And no, he had a big piece of intestine sticking out, and I tried to push it in, but opted not to. And then there's no exotic vets available till today, so I took him to the vet this morning, and they say he looks fine. He's not eating, but I do need to get a stool sample from him, so I got to get him to eat at some point. And they gave me I have to administer the antibiotic, which is a little tricky, but yeah. So yeah, aside from
Why?
that, I'm good.
Why did that happen, you think?
I don't know. They think it could be a bacterial infection, or it could be a he could have worms, and he's trying to like
Uh,
push really hard to get the worms out. So that's why we need the. Right now, we're treating it like a bacterial infection, and we're gonna just go and kind of as soon as he takes a shit, I'm gonna walk it over there and uh get it tested for worms.
wow.
Yeah.
Uh, Jay, the friggin' riddle inside of Enigma, silent assassin. Welcome, Jay. You walked into the conversation at a wild time. You know, we're talking about prolapse anuses and worms.
I've
In
had wilder
turtles.
times.
Wait, what'd you say, Jay?
I've felt welder times.
Oh, okay. Look, do what you do, friend. Do what you do.
That's why he was late.
That's why he was late. Had to push
I
it back
mean-
in real quick.
Yeah, I just got, not just now, but recently came into a situation where there's someone's moderating a Discord for Ninja Turtles and not letting anyone speak black. Like, if you speak black, he gets like all super pissed.
What does that even mean, speaking black?
AAVE.
Oh,
What?
okay. Yeah,
Was that
AAVE, African American Vernacular English.
Yeah.
is that like
Ebonics?
Ebonics?
It's like Ebonics, but with a dumber name.
Wait, what? Oh, jeez. So, okay, and like, what does he like? What constitutes whether you're using AAVE or not?
Just any of the terms white people associate with blacks.
Well,
Like
listen, depends on
y'all?
which white person, right? No, y'all, exactly. Like if they can't see you, then they're like, yeah, like I don't know. It depends what follows the y'all of whether you get banned or not, right?
How about if
Right.
you have a pip?
Like this
If
mod
you have
was
a pip,
actually asking people if they're black or not to like vet their AAVE. So that's like at least prolapsed anus wild, to me at least.
well, it's a cloaca because it's in a reptile.
Yes, the cloaca.
Indeed.
I read something weird along the lines of the AAVE, where this guy in this band, Machine Head, was talking about their video for a song called Davidian was their like hip hop crossover song because there was a pit bull. They were walking down the street in the neighborhood, walking a pit bull in the video for like 3 seconds.
Now
And I
I'll
was like,
grant the guy, the lead singer, that is a corny ass video,
yeah,
but it is absolutely not rap. It's and I listened to the whole song, which fuck you, Moses. And
Hey! I'm sorry.
No, I take it back. There's other things to say fuck you for. Like making me watch Dagon.
It makes you say what?
Like for making me watch Dagon.
Fuck you! I warned you it was like a corny movie, but it kind of hits the marks on these things, like, you know. That's the problem with Lovecraft. The movies are shitty. You know?
And the weird thing is, like, I watched it on Amazon, and it has this X-ray feature, so it has like a bunch of fun tips or like fun facts about the movie. And it's like now I know stuff that I didn't necessarily need to know.
Like what? Do you remember one of the fun facts?
Dagon's first appearance in literature is in the Bible.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know.
Wow.
But basically, you remember Jonah and the whale?
Mm-hmm.
The people that he was sent to talk to before that happened, or the people he was sent to talk to, they were Dagon worshippers.
Yeah.
Oh. Wow. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And even the Pope's hat is a tribute to Dagon. Like that's that fish hat, because Dagon, especially in historical context, is portrayed with fish hat.
Tiger Claw says still on the Megan bandwagon.
You said Dagon. He probably heard Megan.
That's hilarious. Thank you for clearing that up, Oz. Like Oz is our Tiger Claw translator. Because I didn't know what he was talking about either.
Right. But yeah, I am still loving Megan. I actually did have an issue with something Mo said last week that once it percolated, I was able to like, really figure out why I hated that idea.
Mm-hmm.
And it was when you said that Megan should have killed the dog when it was attacking the girl. And I don't have a problem with the way you wanted the dog to be attacked. Like, that's awesome. But attacking her or killing the dog while it's attacking, I feel like no rational person would let it stand at that. Like, yeah, she is protecting someone, but I feel like that's when you immediately start placing in safeguards. Like, that's when you start placing your laws, like your don't harm to killing or don't whatever. And that ends the movie too early.
Right. It's plot convenience. But realistically, the way she was programmed and the way she evolved was basically protecting Katie. And that would have been the most logical thing to happen.
Depends on how smart she is. Think of it this way. Let's say a dog was attacking you, and then I came up to the dog and I stabbed the shit out of it. Now I've got to beef with the owners, even though I was doing it to protect you. And so eventually they're going to get up in my face and I'm going to have to stab them. It's like, it's much more convenient for me to go after the dog at night, like to sneak into the yard, slit the dog's throat, pretend to know nothing. And, I've gotten revenge for you.
That's being devious.
Keeping myself out of trouble.
That's being devious and evil. And then later in the movie, Megan doesn't know the difference between that. Like, what is evil? What is death? What is it? So
I mean, we all do that. Like, I still ask myself these days, like, what is good and evil?
Yeah.
It's like, I did settle on not stabbing people.
Well, I just think there's victim and perpetrator. That's all.
Yeah. I do think that they like part of
Oh,
why the dog attacks, well, not attacks, but why they have the dog attack Megan first is maybe to kind of put it like she might be a little damaged.
Tiger Claw says, as a dog owner, we don't want to see dogs being killed in movies. There's a website for that. DoesTheDogDie.com. You can go there, put in the movie, and it'll tell you whether or not the dog dies.
Why do dog owners care more about dogs than people?
Because it's easier to care for a dog.
No. I mean, I'm just saying, like, you're like, I don't want to see the dog die, but then they'll go watch a movie and like a whole group of people get slaughtered. It's like it's not real.
Dogs are
Like, I'm trying to.
Dogs are better than people. Like, they're good. Like, the only time there are bad dogs are when bad people are involved. Otherwise,
And even then, they're not
dogs
bad.
are great.
They're not really bad. They're just pleasing their master, or doing what they think pleases their master. For example, like the thing that Jay talked about, like with the dog. Like, if a dog was attacking my dog, I love dogs. I don't want to see dogs get killed. I wouldn't want to kill a dog. But if it's between my dog and another dog, I don't give a fuck about that dog.
Mm-hmm.
I might beat it into submission and then take it from the owner and say it's mine now, and then make him part of this pack. But that's a little risky, and I don't have time to devote to that reprogramming.
Tiger Claw says a dog gets killed in Alita Battle Angel. It was a little uncomfortable, but it didn't affect the movie experience.
What movies
I
are
just
fake?
remember being mad at someone for that movie. I don't remember who.
I'll take it. You could be mad at me for it.
Actually, I think it was Amber, because she liked it, but it was different.
You think it was Amber?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like my Amber, or are we talking about a different Amber?
No, you're Amber. She liked the movie.
She liked
And
she liked the original anime. The movie was to her. Like, it wasn't.
I don't think she
like
disliked it
anime.
enough.
I don't know,
Like, I think it was a thing where she didn't dislike it enough. Or she said she was happy that something happened that was different.
Like, she made me rewatch the anime after we watched the movie because she wanted to watch
The anime is much better.
Yeah.
Well, there it is.
Also, you haven't seen her talk to her in 10 years.
Well, the movie came out like 7 years ago. Like, wasn't it? I don't know. I know you related.
No, but I remember Oz, like, he gave us her review.
Right.
It came out in 2019.
What Jay said.
Dang, did it come out in 2019?
It's like 4 years ago.
That joint feels like it was a lifetime ago, okay?
Yeah, it really does.
That's mind-blowing. Oh, wow. Okay. All right. We should go ahead and get into our first topic. Like,
You didn't ask
you
how
all
he
get to
was
start.
doing.
I didn't ask Oz how he was doing?
No.
Next.
It's messed up. You don't care about him.
I do care about Oz. I got to see Oz and Amber. She's alive after 10 years. No, but yeah, so it was awesome. Like, I mean, yeah, I mean, but Oz, you're only doing which is, I guess, par for the course for you.
Yeah.
He's too full of cheese.
Too full of cheesecake?
Yes.
I know.
Everybody's just got quiet all of a sudden. I'm like, I'm under these hot lights. Like, question.
Yeah, indeed. All right. Let's go ahead and let's start with Velma. Y'all good with that?
Yeah.
All right. Oh,
You got to play
playing
the TV theme. Let's see. I'm on that delay. You guys got to.
Also, No, it's more about gel coat.
When the fourth round would...
Don't you call in?
Doesn't look good already.
Jumbo Scampi for limited.
All right. All right. Jay, why don't you tell us what Velma's about, man?
Velma is a reimagining of Scooby-Doo that centers on Velma solving a mystery of dead people popping up in her hometown, Crystal Cove. And she's basically trying to solve these murders and interacting with the people who will eventually form Mystery Inc.
I guess that does sum it up, doesn't it? Oops, sorry. So yeah, I mean that is what it is. I guess it should, or I think it would be worthwhile to mention that this has the crew in their teenage years. Everybody is in high school, so that's something that is worth pointing out or mentioning, I think, too, just to give folks that haven't seen it yet an idea of what the setting might be or what might be like.
If you want to tell them to, if they, preemptively not want to watch it, you should let them know that it's brought together by Mindy Kaling and Charlie. Man, what's the guy's name? I forget. But her collaborator on all her shows. So they put it together.
I don't know who the collaborator on her shows are.
Tiger Class asks, is Scooby in the show? Because I haven't heard anything about that. Is Shaggy even in it?
No.
Shaggy is in it, but Scooby is not.
Is he though?
Yeah, he's not.
I mean,
like his hair's not shaggy.
So his hair's not shaggy, so he's not shaggy.
Yeah, because Shaggy, like that's his whole thing. It's like he's all hairy, like a werewolf almost. And that's why his nickname's that way. This guy's hairless.
Shaggy's like it wasn't me, Shaggy.
Yeah,
that's funny. Ah, man. Okay, so Mo, why don't you start us off with some opinions, man? How did you? Well, let me ask you this first, though, and I want everybody to kind of weigh in on this. Like, what is your feeling on Scooby-Doo generally, and then tell us how you feel about, and just a short thing of like what your relationship was like with Scooby-Doo, and then what it is with this show.
I mean, I used to watch it a lot as a little kid, and I enjoyed it, but it wasn't like one of my favorite things, So it's not something that I even like. I don't think I've seen the live action movies at all. Maybe one of them, and then I've never seen anything beyond like the original, like Casey Kasem voiced cartoon, the original Hanna-Barbera. So that's like my take on it, but I did feel some way when I heard how this was coming out, and almost like against it. But then my sister told me to watch it, and because she's a big Mindy Kaling fan. And then my brother said he's not watching it because he doesn't like how Mindy Kaling drives.
How she drives?
Yeah, he was stuck behind her on the one-way street once.
Okay,
and,
that's fair.
So that's it. That's pretty much. I know you told me not to go over beyond the question, but I didn't listen to you.
No, I mean, so did you like the show?
Oh yeah, the show itself I loved. Yeah, I loved it. Even with I'm not the greatest big. I don't know. I feel weird about Mindy Kaling. Like I always feel like I'm not a fan, but everything she writes and I laugh at. So I guess I kind of am, and I've watched enough of it so that I can say that. And this is kind of like that. Like it has that type of humor. I don't think she wrote these episodes, but it does have like even like they made Daphne. Nobody's mad about Daphne being Asian, but but they're mad about Scooby being black. But I haven't seen anybody really. I mean, they're more the people the corners of the internet where I prowl are more mad of him like being anti-drugs than black. But but I haven't come across anybody really being mad about her being Asian. But even the way they brought that up was a really funny way of doing it, because it's like that whole opening scene was like satirical, and this whole reimagining is almost a satire. Like I think they would have had a better response from the public if it was something more like a Drawn Together, where you have the trope of it, and you could just say that they're supposed to be, but not change or destroy people's childhoods.
Okay. Oz, what about you, man? What's your relationship with Scooby-Doo in the past and then Velma in the present?
I love the original show. I had no problem with adultifying, if that's a thing. Like the movies did that, and now it's fine. But because they stayed true to the characters. The character, you could see, okay, well, this is just it's the same character in a different situation. And I'm tired of hearing people talk about how much they love a show or characters and then decide to change everything about them. Like I wish the race swapping was it. Like they just stopped there. But no, they completely like these aren't even they're the original characters in name only. Especially what they do to Fred, man. Like, that's not Fred. And it's a shame, because if you really love the character, there is a way to have that character that Fred plays. There's a way to have him and not be Fred. You make him Fred's friend and have Fred realize, well, shit, I've been hanging out with these people. I'm turning into an a-hole. These people are ridiculous. Why am I? And then start leaning towards hanging out with the with the other crowd, and that's how they get together. You don't have to do my boy like that. Like that just ain't right.
Okay.
I wish that people would stop talking about the race swapping, because that's the least of the show's problem. And then that gives the showrunners the opportunity to say, well, that guy's just racist. He doesn't like that is people of color. No, it's what you do to the actual characters that is bad.
Yeah. Jay, what about you, man? What's your relationship to the original and to Velma?
I used to watch the original all the time, enjoyed it. Actually, through the years, I've watched almost every incarnation of Scooby, with I think the exception of like maybe 2 series that I didn't watch. Be Cool Scooby-Doo, and there was a Shaggy and Scooby Get a Clue, which I didn't watch.
Is that just a timing thing, or were those conscious decisions? Do you remember?
One of them, Be Cool Scooby-Doo, was half conscious decision, half inaccessibility. Like if it had been a little more accessible, I might have ended up watching it, but I didn't go out of my way to do it. I don't really like the character designs.
Got it.
And Scooby and Shaggy Get a Clue was a conscious decision.
And why'd you make that decision?
Oh, because it was just Scooby and Shaggy, and I prefer them having people to work off of. Because they did have a series like just on their own with the Scrappy, and it was like those were okay, but I definitely enjoyed having them better when they have someone to play off of. Like even when Daphne was leading the team and Fred and Velma had left, like just having her there to kind of bounce off of was like pretty good.
Okay.
That was when Velma went to NASA.
Gotcha. So, well, how'd you feel about Velma? The TV show.
It's not great. It's pretty funny at times, but a lot of the times I feel like it goes out of the way to undermine itself. I do find it a little weird how. Well, no, there is something a little bit about Velma. She has like kind of this main character syndrome, which I mean, it is her show, but I don't know. It might be just a me thing. But I think,
but it's
what really bugs me is like the first episode. It one undermines itself. Two, it feels like the characters are acting out of character. Like how that sometimes happens with pilots, and then like you see the pilot, and then it's like a lot different, or different from the actual show.
Right.
Like it feels like that happened. And with the short a show as this is, I don't feel like that should. Like, I feel like they should have retweaked their pilot to like fit the rest of the show, which I'm assuming will be like. I hope Velma's not planning on keep like dressing up and attacking people randomly for no reason. Like, I hope that doesn't keep happening.
Oh, it's gonna keep happening, man. It's gonna keep happening.
But yeah, as far as the character changes, mostly I don't have a problem with them. Yeah, I mean, they're different, but to me, the team has always been a little like malleable, and it's interesting because if you go back and watch like a pup named Scooby Doo, which had like one of the most extreme examples of like taking an aspect and just kind of magnifying it, it really, like, I could see where you would go. You can stretch to what you're doing and what they're doing in Velma.
So you're saying that because the other show, or if I'm understanding you, because the other show like kind of like took aspects of their personalities and drove them very extreme, it makes Velma, like, you can see where they would take the one step from that, or the step from that into something like Velma. Is that what you're saying?
No, it makes it more palatable. Like, having seen extreme differences before in canon shows makes it more palatable, like easier to see someone taking the show. Like, it's easier to see them as still the character, even while they act wildly different.
Okay. All right.
Plus, that and it being an origin gives the characters room to grow into who they will be.
Right.
Not Fred.
Well,
not that Fred.
not that Fred. Listen,
I don't know. He was always kind
Fred
of
used to be a
weird.
fucking dumbass. Like, Fred was a fucking moron in a pup named Scooby Doo. But he was fine when he grew up into the regular Scooby gang.
Yeah, he was always the leader of the group that led them through the night, just long enough for Velma to solve the mystery.
I mean, when he was there, when it wasn't Daphne who was the one in charge.
Yeah.
He's just an asshole with a necker.
Wait, the asshole with a what?
With a neckerchief.
Oh, gotcha.
Why not ask Scott for alliteration purposes?
Nah, I'm just quoting the Jane Silent Bob Strike Back movie.
I don't remember any quotes from that.
Man.
So, just to round things out, I'm not a big fan of Scooby Doo. Like I've never really been a fan of Scooby Doo.
Too scary.
You need to watch Mystery Inc. Like I told you.
It's so funny because Emily was like, in the first hallucination that Velma has, Emily's like, "Are you sure Larry's gonna watch this?"
No, it's like I honestly, I like even as a kid, I felt like Scooby Doo kind of talked down to me, and and I understand it's a kid show, but and I was a kid watching it, but I don't know, it just felt like how do we all not know who the person that's doing this is? Like, wait, it's pretty obvious, but a pup named Scooby Doo. Oh, go ahead, Mo.
Sorry, I think that's what probably embedded my skepticism about ghosts and supernatural shit. Was watching Scooby Doo because it was always just some goose in the mask.
I think you guys should watch the Scooby Doo Supernatural episode.
Oh, that's the greatest supernatural episode of all time.
Yeah,
but if you want to watch reimagining, just watch Freaky Links. That was kind of like a adultified reimagining of Scooby Doo.
Yeah, I like Freaky Links.
Yeah, which makes me think that this is one of those cases where they wanted to do a specific show, and somebody said, "Hey, we'll just call it this so people will watch it."
I don't know. I mean, that could be the case, but I will say this: not a fan of Scooby Doo, generally speaking. A pup named Scooby Doo is the closest thing that I came to actually liking Scooby Doo. But this show, I'm not a fan of this show, and I want to say I'm hearing what you're saying, Oz, where it's like, oh, it could have been somebody else, somebody else coming with a premise beforehand. And they just slapped Scooby Doo on it. That could be the case, but realistically, it's just even as a show without the Scooby Doo on top of it, it doesn't work great. It's just not. It doesn't come across to me as a well thought out and put together show, which is kind of it's surprising to me, to say the least, just because there's a lot of talented people involved. And so look, you don't feel like the people involved are talented.
I know Mo loves Mindy, but she's never really been.
I didn't even know I loved her till the show.
I tolerated her in The Office because as much as her character got on my nerves, that was the point of the character. So I'm like, okay, well, look, she's doing a fine job in the role, and then she does.
She wrote a bunch of those.
Yeah, and then she does the Mindy project, and it's like, oh, that's her. Okay, well, I'm out.
Yeah.
What about the episodes of The Office that she wrote? Did you like those?
Probably. There's very few episodes that I don't like.
So you like her writing?
Yeah. Well, yeah, when she doesn't change the characters that were established before she got to it.
I don't know. She did a number on Toby.
Well, everybody hates Toby.
I just kind of feel like I'm not sure that this show fully understands what it wants to be.
I know, I understand what it wants to be, and they're just not executing it as well as what they're trying to be. Which is they're trying to do the Harley Quinn for Velma, and
but that
it's
doesn't
just
feel
not
like
working.
what this is. Oh, dude.
Yeah, Scooby Doo is the wrong show to Harley Quinn up. I mean, Harley Quinn gets away with it
Look,
because
you don't need
she's crazy.
Yeah.
Like that's her character.
That's kind of my original point. But you know how the way they do, like how you feel about Fred is how Larry felt about Jim Gordon in so they're doing that. They're kind of adding, they're adding that hallucination thing is like the JB Smooth plant talking to her, shit like that. So it's just they're trying to do. This is a trend that you're probably going to see a little more for a few episodes. Like if this one fails, you might see it for like 2 other shows, and then it won't latch on. Because it ultimately worked for Harley Quinn once they started just focusing on her more and less on the Gordons and Batmans.
By the way, I hated the Gordon stuff too.
Yeah,
you can do a little bit of
stuff.
You can do a little bit of the clinginess, but they once they make him like a complete idiot, I'm like, okay, no, he's a smart
the thing
dude.
is making him a complete idiot isn't a problem if that's okay. It's Harley Quinn show. It's her perception of reality. Is this or that? You start giving that shitty version of him like a B plot, then it's like, yeah, that's not good.
I mean, it's funny that you watch a tank, but
yeah.
See, and I think ultimately that's like because I remember like my initial thoughts on that Harley Quinn show and just feeling like, oh, I don't know, they're just not doing the characters much justice. But ultimately, the show won me over because it's funny, and it's just like, dude, it's like you can't deny that it's entertaining you, even if it's like, oh, I would have preferred to see people closer to their comic book counterparts. But at the end of the day, I'm like, dude, I'm actually really enjoying my time watching this, and I'm laughing my backside off, And I think that's part of where, huh?
How many episodes did it take you to feel that way? Sorry, I'm on that delay. How many episodes did it take you to feel that way in Harley Quinn?
Yeah, it was probably maybe 3. Yeah,
okay.
Maybe 3. Like
So
I don't think.
Velma one more.
Okay, but I will say that I don't feel like Velma's funny. Like those 2 episodes I watched, there was only one point in those 2 episodes that I actually laughed and I saw something that I was like, oh, I think that's funny. And that was literally when Fred went to court and had the whole baby face kind of thing going on. And then it starts raining and he starts to look like Hitler. Like that joint cracked me up. But then they immediately killed it with the whole joke about, he looks like Hitler, and not just because we think we always reference Hitler. And I was like, oh, listen, you ruined the joke. Like it was fine right where it was. And it was and that kind of goes to what Jay was saying, where it's the show kind of gets in its own way. I was just like, dude, all you had to do was just let that sit. That was hilarious. And then y'all I don't even understand what the point of that is, where I'm just like,
everybody watching that understood. We get it. You don't have to explain it because now you're talking down to us. Now you think we're stupid.
But that's the thing. I don't think they think we're stupid.
That way, it's like the original. That way, it's like the original. It was talking down the Larry.
There it is. That's what it is. Like, you get it because it's Hitler, and everybody says everybody's like Hitler, and it's like, yeah, dude, no. I was just like, man, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, but
I like
the joke after or the
he was high
like
off
that.
of gas the whole time though.
But that's you say that like it's a bad thing.
well, Norville thinks so. No,
Yeah. Look, I have a prediction that Norville is like they're doing the whole like here in Twitch chat. Derek H said they're getting up all the cartoons, and they're doing an analog with like it's Shaggy is in the closet about wanting to be high, and he's being one of these like but he's secretly like yearning for weed, and I think that's probably a plot. Like that's my prediction that instead of doing like, oh, the character's gonna come out as gay, it's like, oh, he's just gonna come out as a stoner. Like, and that's like that feels to me like would be the humor here in making him so anti drugs,
See, but that's the thing. Like, I know for me watching it, I was like, it seems like such a weird. Like, I'm not saying it's not. It's outside the character of the Shaggy that the traditional Shaggy archetype. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
I'm saying that one character trait about how hardcore he is against drugs feels out of character for the character they're showing me in the show. Like, why would that character like have that one thing that he like? It's so weird. Like, it feels out of place with all everything else they tell us about him.
As the resident like Mindy Kaling fan, I can tell you that's like that's look. I don't even know if she had the decision, but to me, like if I was doing it and I'm race swapping people and making characters bi, or I'm like, you know what? We're gonna change it. We're gonna make them black, and we're gonna make them hate drugs too. Like just to fuck with the people. Like they're like, he's supposed to be a white stoner, and it's like, yeah, and he hates drugs too. Like we're really swapping him to something opposite than what you want or what you think he is. And to me, like that idea is funny to me, and I loved it.
Or they decided to make him a black character and felt it would be inappropriate to make the black character the drug addict.
I don't think that's an issue. I don't think they would think that way.
Okay.
Like I don't think Mindy. I don't think. Like I don't think anybody writing this thinks that like marijuana is a race quality. Like it could be any kind of fucking race and love marijuana. And I think the people writing this understand that. And if anything, it will bring races together if everybody just sparked up together and ate Cheetos after. But them like actually making him anti-drug is like let's really make him opposite. Let's piss the people that are gonna be pissed off. Let's piss them off for real.
Let's completely change this character I claim to love so much throughout my childhood.
Yeah. But that's the thing. That's the other thing too. Like the way they the people getting mad about their childhood being changed or destroyed, and it's like, man, if that's what your childhood depended on, I'm sorry you didn't grow up with a grandmother or or whatever. Like it's like, yeah, well, some people got molested as kids. Now you get Velma.
Damn. Wow. Okay.
Velma's here to molest us as adults.
Well, look, if your childhood is that fragile, your memory of childhood is that like pristine and fragile, like you're kind of privileged.
It's not.
I mean, they can always go back and watch the old episodes,
and it's
like,
not.
They're not gone.
I don't know. It's not that it's ruining like my childhood or anything. I know there's some people that do actually.
Oh yeah,
that's
the shit they see online.
You're sitting there telling me it's the same problem I had with Kevin Smith, talking about how much he loved He-Man, even though there's like interviews of him talking about I don't give a fuck about He-Man when I was a little kid. It's like you're lying to me to sell me this thing, and then you're not even like, if you're gonna lie to me and to sell me something, at least make that something seem kind of like what you're telling me you like, oh, if you liked it when you were a kid, you're gonna like it now. At least make it similar. Don't give me some kind of grape Kool-Aid and tell me, oh, this is Fanta. You remember Fanta, right? Orange Crush, whatever. Sorry, I was trying to think of a delicious drink from my childhood, but nobody knows what the hell sangria is.
Yeah,
non-alcoholic.
Sangria.
Yeah,
a Mexican soda that tastes like alcohol.
Yeah, it's Mexican grape drink.
Oh, I like it.
You never had it, Larry?
Maybe.
Yeah, I'll make sure you get one. Tarek Line Chat
Thank
says,
you,
I'm
Fred.
waiting for Velma and Shaggy to hook up in the van, in the back of the
Derek
van.
H.
Oh, who said that?
Derek H said that.
Okay.
And that's probably not going to happen.
In fact, that's part of one of the funniest parts of this right here is how he's really into her, and she just laughs at him. Like she's like, I care about
that does.
And then she starts. She's having these PTSD hallucinations, and then he tells her, somebody does like you. I like you, like you, and she starts laughing. Oh yeah, hey, that did it. Say something funny again. Oh, yeah, I think of you all the time. And then she starts laughing. She gets through her PTSD, and then on the last one, she's like, all right, enough. I'm peeing. I'm still laughing at that shit.
And that does 100% feel like Moses' humor.
And then later she doubles down on that where she's like, man, if I found humor attractive, I'd be all over you. And that's what he wants. And it didn't work. It's hilarious. That made the whole series for me.
Dang. There it is. What was I going to say? So, I mean, I don't know. It's interesting because, like, just even like listening to you talk about that one moment, Mo, which, I mean, I get it was supposed to be funny. It just didn't do it for me, and I'm like, I don't know. Like your reaction to it is funnier to me than the actual thing.
Yeah,
But I don't know. That's weird because I feel like I don't know. I came into it wanting to like it, and it didn't start off terrible because it was definitely making it started off kind of with the satirical, self-referential kind of stuff going on, but yeah, but it just I don't know, it just doesn't get there for me, unfortunately. So yeah. I don't know. Let me ask Jay. Let me ask you this: are you up for, or I guess left to your own devices? Would you watch episode 3?
We should say 3 and 4.
Okay. They both come out at the same time?
Yeah, they're coming out 2 episodes at a time for 5 weeks.
Okay. So would you watch 3 and 4?
Yeah, definitely. I honestly think this show is going to do a turn like halfway through the season, like maybe episode 6 or 7. I think it's going to get really good.
It's going to be like full-fledged Scooby?
Not full-fledged Scooby, but right now they're trying to do a lot of meta humor, and it's not 100% working. So once they, I feel like once they run out of that and run out of saying a trope and then doing that trope, once that runs out and they actually have to work on the story and work on the humor, that they're gonna actually come through and make a good show.
Got it.
They kind of even referenced that a little bit in the first episode. Like, you ever notice how the opening scene in every pilot has a lot more nudity and sex than the rest of the whole series? And And they kind of did. And then throughout that whole episode, even like, oh, lesbian detectives are supposed to be better than that, shit like that. So I think as the story moves along, it's gonna find its footing. Which I think the footing it has here is hilarious, and I'm enjoying it. But if it actually becomes a good show with that humor, then I'll be even more vindicated. I can really say I'm a Ailing fan,
right?
Even though I didn't until like 30 minutes ago.
What about you?
Watched any Mindy Kaling stuff? Like, this is actually the first Mindy Kaling show I've ever watched.
Oh man.
Okay. Which I know because I was going through her credits today. And it's like, I've seen stuff she's been in, but this is the first time, like, all the stuff that she's written and directed, I haven't seen any of it.
There's one episode of the Mindy Project that I laughed so hard that, like, my lungs started expelling mucus. I started coughing. And it was weird because she was dating a basketball player, like big jock guy from the Knicks or whatever. But she met him at a club and they're vibing and everything, and then she has to leave because the true love is calling her, or she thinks it's the true love, and she leaves like an article of clothing. And I never knew what this was. This is the first time hearing what that article of clothing was as a dude. But you see this big, burly jock dude say, "Wait, you forgot your pashmina." It cracked me the fuck up, man. I double shit myself laughing. Like, what the fuck is a pashmina? And then I looked it up, and it's like a lacy scarf. But he's like, "You forgot your pashmina," and he's holding it like referencing because it's like an expensive article of clothing, like silk or something. "You forgot your pashmina," and the look on that dude's face, like he's so worried that she left her pashmina, cracks me the fuck. He's like this big, burly, you drinking Cristal like basketball player that's out with his boys. "Wait, you forgot your pashmina."
That is funny.
And that was one of the episodes when they got canceled. So that's one of the bad episodes, technically.
Oz, you gonna watch episodes 3 and 4?
Nah,
Oz is out. Right. But Mo, you're in
1 and 2, but you guys forced me into it.
Well, I did do something because I did want like our review of this to be like, well, some people are gonna hate this and they let this go, but they got rid of a bunch of other stuff that was actually better, with this new Reich that they have. And so I wanted to do the clickbaity thumbnail saying, "What is HBO Max thinking?" and then put these two there. But realistically, it's like we're not doing that clickbaity shit like that in 2023. Like, I do have like, I'm like, well, since I'm here watching, I watched these episodes. I started watching Stargirl because I was watching that. Yeah, and when you talk about like the issues he's having here, and now granted, I only watched episode 2 and 3. And I didn't feel like, okay, this is corny and dumb. But then later I look at a thumbnail and it's like Dr. Midnight and it's a little kid with these gloves, like, and I'm like, those first 3 episodes weren't terrible. I'm not saying they're terrible. Even the whole idea with the Justice Society's been destroyed. It made me angry at Black Adam because, like, man, they could have tied this into Black Adam. And
we had talked about that horrible Dr. Midnight costume on that actress.
But I've never seen it in action. I've only seen it in the poster.
It never gets better.
It never gets better.
But that's my thing. Like, so I'm like, it's like, and I don't know what the merit of this show is, but what I saw,
the redeeming
What I
quality
did
of that is that real Dr. Midnight does actually show up. So it's
Okay.
not like they're not destroying like
Yeah.
the legacy character. Legacy character shows up and talks
Yeah.
to the new character. So
Okay. Like says, wear some gloves that fit. But either way, like it's like like and that's the thing. HBO Max has all this shit to offer. If you don't
Yeah.
like Velma, I know personally for me, like Righteous Gemstones is one of my favorite shows on there. The first White Lotus, I haven't seen the second one, and then I watch Bill Maher here and there. That's technically HBO, right? Like that's not.
Yeah.
I watch it on Max because I don't have cable.
Yeah. All right. Well, does anybody have anything else pressing they want to say about Velma before we rate it?
I like when they
Okay.
were taking pictures of the pregnant woman.
When they were taking pictures of the pregnant woman.
For her
Mindy's
Instagram post.
Velma's stepmom.
Oh, got you. Yeah. And what was it about
I
that?
thought
How
that
do you
was
not remember that?
I mean, dude, there's a lot about the
Larry,
show that I'm probably not going to remember.
Larry's too highbrow.
But I'm not, though. I love highbrow humor, but I love lowbrow humor too.
Yeah,
Like,
whatever.
It's true. I just like to.
When's
I
the
like
last
to laugh.
When's the last time you laughed at somebody just saying shit?
Just
look,
now.
there you go. Just now.
Just now. It's because the way you say it.
Also, we did have that talk about that special butter they use in that cafe you're in.
Wait a minute now. Wait a minute. I'm spilling the tea. But yeah. Okay. So let's rate it. Jay, what would you rate Velma?
I would give it a 3 out of 5. Like, it made me laugh at some parts, and it made me annoyed with others. But I think it'll get better.
Okay. Oz, what would you rate Velma?
Out of 5?
Out of
like
5.
Half.
Jeez.
If I was allowed to get high, I might go up to like 1.5.
But half. Okay. Moses Magnum, what would you rate Velma?
I would do a 3 out of 5. It's not as good as Harley Quinn or Rick and Morty, but I could see like that where it's trying to go. But if we give it a chance, it might get there. It's still an origin story.
That's true.
I do want to like show off. I had a little text exchange with my sister about it because she's the one that told me to watch it. I didn't even plan on watching it until she told me. Let me share that with you guys. She's like Larry. She can't watch scary shit. So I after watching like that first hallucination sequence, I asked her like, "You didn't think something was too scary?" Like she says, "I can only watch it during the day." It's a cartoon, and I find Mindy's voice very safe. But I used to be scared of Scooby Doo too. Yeah, so she's enjoying it.
There it is.
I think
there it is.
That like that little crass humor that it has makes her not scared.
Yeah, I can see that. Shout out to Oz. He had to go, so because he actually has to go to work, unfortunately. So appreciate him sticking around for as long as he did. So, for my rating, I'll give it a 2 out of 5. I didn't like it, but I'll give it a shot. Like I can watch 2 more episodes to see if it gets better. But I shouldn't even say better. See if it will appeal to me more, because that's what it boils down to. Like it's not so bad of a show that I couldn't understand why anybody would enjoy it, but it's definitely not for me, or at least doesn't feel like it's for me, like that. So
Do you feel like if it was like a drawn together, it would have worked better for you? I guess that's a better question for Oz.
I mean, maybe, but yeah, but like I like Drawn Together. I'm
Yeah.
trying to figure out like what aspect of it would make it more like Drawn Together though.
I think the fact that they're just like the analogs to these characters that you know,
Mm-hmm.
but not the characters that you know. But I
Gotcha.
think in your case, it's more about the writing and the humor
Yeah.
in the story. Like it's not really
Yeah.
about that. Like, that's more an Oz question.
Yeah, I think you're right. Because I mean, I'm not so attached to Scooby Doo as a franchise that I'm like, oh, you're messing up Scooby Doo. Like, I would just take a funny show, or a show that felt like it was like interesting enough in what it was trying to show or demonstrate that, whether it's like Scooby Doo or not, would be probably the least common or the least uh, weighty factor for me personally. But we'll see. Derek H says, confirm, Joe hates Indian women.
I love Riley Vincent.
Is Riley Vincent Indian?
Riley.
Oh, Riley?
Yeah, Riley Vincent. She's Indian.
But she's one of the good ones.
Just
like, I don't even know how to answer that question.
I remember my sister got mad at me because when my brother was talking about how he didn't like how Mindy Kaling drove, and I'm like, that's weird because that's not how they drive in India. And my sister got mad because Mindy Kaling's, I mean, she's Indian in hair. She's Indian like I'm Mexican, but she's born here.
Right.
Philly.
Mm-hmm.
So my sister thought I was really being ignorant, and they're like, "No, I know she's from Philly. Like, I get it. Like, or from
Yeah, indeed. So, okay, cool. You all ready to talk about The Last of Us?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
Do we have to replay the music, or do we just go into it?
No, we're just gonna go into it. So there it is. Let me ask this before we start in on the show. Jay, have you played the game? Oh,
hold on.
What?
Derek A says Minnie May for the win. I mean, she's cute, but she's no Riley.
Who is that? I don't know who that is.
From Gunsmith Cats.
Oh. Okay. Okay, got it.
You pretend to get it.
Is anybody watching the new Trigun?
Wait, the new? You said the new Trigun?
Yeah. They're on episode 2.
Oh, then no, I'm not watching it yet. I'll try to get around to it.
Okay. So, yeah, before we go into this, Jay, have you played the game, The Last of Us?
Yeah, I played the first one. Not to completion, just to the end of the main story. I didn't do all the DLC.
Mm-hmm.
Like I started it but didn't finish. But yeah,
Okay.
I played the game.
Okay, cool. And Moses, how about you, man? Did you play The Last of Us?
Nah, but because the way the game is, I just watched somebody play it and felt like I played it.
Got you. Okay, so you did like a let's play for the entire first game.
Well, I want to say about maybe half of it.
Okay, cool. I got you. Okay, I have not played The Last of Us. I've actually had a couple friends that have been trying to get me to play it for a while now. Like
Yeah.
almost since it came out. And I'm not against it or anything. It's just one of those things where
if you can't get through The Walking Dead, you're not going to be able to get through The Last of Us.
The Walking Dead game?
Yeah.
Well, it's not that I can't get through it. It's just that I haven't finished it yet. That's not the same thing.
Right. And how many years has it been?
I mean,
Like
listen, if you want to fight, Jay, we can fight. I don't mind. Like, I'll punch you. I don't mind.
Battle Angel Alita.
I'm just saying.
Before Battle Angel Alita. In the before time. No, man. I mean, and look, you're right. Like, I should go back to it. And don't get me wrong. Like, I'm by no means am I not saying that I find the Walking Dead, the Telltale Walking Dead game eerie. It's eerie. It scares me. It scared me in points. So I'm not saying that that's not a part of my experience. However, I feel like I could, and I believe I will at some point finish that game and the ones to follow, because I really want to play the Michonne one, because the Michonne one is like in continuity with the comic book series.
But you already got all.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, in the sense that because Michonne is a character. Well, yeah, you're right. They all are, but Michonne actually shows up in the book. So,
yeah, we're gonna say her own book.
The Walking Dead comic. Clementine's not in that.
She doesn't need to be. She has her own book.
Mo, what are you saying?
That I forgot.
All right, we'll come back. All right, Mo, why don't you explain to the people what The Last of Us is?
It's a TV show on HBO. Larry. Yeah.
The end.
Larry.
No.
Yeah, it's based on the game. It's based on the game, and the reason I said like I didn't play the game, I just watched somebody play it, is because the game itself is very cinematic, and even the active time events, if you, I guess that's what you call those, where you just have to hit a thing. There's not a lot of like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not like playing like a Gears of War where you have to shoot and duck and all that. I know there's those moments, but they're not. The game relies on a more immersive experience that makes it more cinematic, And right. I'm okay with it. I actually like that. That's part of why I like playing the Telltale games, And so I'm not like criticizing that. But I'm more if anything, I would criticize the TV show, because it's like, you could just watch a playthrough of the game. Like, it's like watching the show. It's already cinematic, And even like the opening scenes here were like the tutorial level of the game, Just little updated, like just a cooler sequence, maybe something that they couldn't pull off in the game. They pull it off on the TV show, But the overall
game entrance better.
Yeah, it feels a little more claustrophobic. I don't know if it's because they showed us the city, like a TV show would have to show you like a panning shot of the city at one point, whereas the game doesn't. Like, you're literally just seeing it through this girl's perspective, Specifically in Last of Us, tutorial level. But in the show, it's like she's going to school, she's getting on the bus, she hangs out with the neighbors, So it makes it feel a little less claustrophobic than the game. But that scene in the car in the show and the game, like I had the exact same reaction to it, to the point where Emily's like, once it stopped, I'm like, okay, I took a breath, because feeling like I'm like, man, this is just like the game, like being in the backseat of the truck, and then even the dialogue is, when you talk about like adaptation and transitioning from one media to another, all the complaints we have, like we don't really have those here in the opening minutes here of Last of Us. So I really like that was a really good transition, and even like Pedro Pascal's like good in it. But when he said being 36, I'm like 36, fuck you, you bastard, you ain't 36, and But then the show, time jumps to 2023, so that's why they did it, because he's like 55. But yeah.
Jay, go ahead.
Did anyone else feel like the news program was talking down to them?
No.
I didn't feel like I didn't feel like it was talking down, but I feel like it was talking down to us.
Yeah.
Like we don't need that. Like us not having so much of that would make the whole event scarier. And when they try to actually put you in the backseat of that truck, that is scarier. Even in the game, they did it where like they had the birthday cake or whatever, gave him the present, and then she woke up in bed and she doesn't know what's going on, and then she hears some of the newscasts, but then the TV cuts off, and it's like you hear just enough as a player to be like, okay, there's a sense of urgency here, but not like moving story along or giving you story elements, And here I felt like they're trying to get people hooked, so they're like, we got to give them more. I don't know if they think TV audiences are dumber than.
No, I mean like the first part, like the very opening prologue.
Oh,
the one from like the 60s.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah,
with the guy talking about fungus.
Yeah, I didn't feel that too much, but it wasn't added. Like, I liked it as a touch because it's something that I've like been interested in. So I'm not like, for me, it's like extra material that I can enjoy.
I felt they were explaining stuff to me that I already know.
Yeah.
And that I don't need that asshole telling me shit I already know. Like, I already know it. Like, I know about mind control mushrooms. So why the fuck do I need this show taking like 10 or 20 minutes just to tell me about something I already know?
But there's a lot of people that don't know.
Well, they can learn. Like, you don't need to show that. Like, they could go somewhere else for their fungi learning. Like, they don't have to come to The Last of Us. Like, they should watch a nature documentary or something.
I mean, like,
go ahead, Mo.
There's whole mycology. Like, there's a whole segment of study where it's like they're even finding out that mushrooms are closely related genetically. They're closer related to human than they are to other plants.
Oh wow. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess for me, like I felt like it was a good. I don't need
them talking down to me and telling me that mushrooms could take over people's minds. Like, I know that.
Yeah, but I mean, you can at least, or let me ask you this then. You could at least acknowledge that there's probably a decent set of people that don't know that, and that's a important fact to probably understand in regards to the show.
Is it?
To that, I would say Do you think that section was in the game?
Do they not explain it in the game at all?
They say that they do describe them later as like fungus. But they don't hold your hand hold your hand like, hey guy, this is what mushrooms can do. Like
right.
Like they're not doing that.
After hearing Larry's asinine comment, I agree with Jay. Like, I don't need those.
What asinine? What about?
Just how you said it. Like, do you there's people, but the game didn't have it, and everybody that played the game knows that it's mushrooms. Like,
the game did have it. It just had it later.
Well, the explanation, it wasn't like that.
Of course, it's not like that because it's a video game. But that's the whole thing is like. This is literally what people talk about when they're like, okay, there's a difference between mediums. Like you don't have to hook somebody with information in a video game. You hook them with gameplay. So you can wait to tell them like, oh, this is like a mushroom thing down the line because they're playing through the game. You're putting them in this zone and they're hooked in that regard. But Jay, when you're talking about
what?
Jay, you hear it? That Larry BS?
Oh, boo.
Like when he likes it a lot, he's like, oh, this is part of the mystery. Like, I don't need to know. I don't need them to tell me.
No. See, but here's the next thing that I'm about to say, which is, but when you're talking about a TV show, especially a post-apocalyptic TV show, you got to mess around and help the audience understand why this isn't just like the last 4 or 5 post-apocalyptic TV shows that they've been watching, especially considering, like, you know, if you're talking about, oh, this is a friggin' zombie-esque pandemic type thing that's happening, it's like people have been watching zombie pandemic shows for the last however many years. They literally just went through a pandemic. It's like you got to tell them why this isn't what they've been doing all this time already, or else they're just going to be like, eh.
Now, here's the thing, too. They do tell you that it's fungus in that beautiful intro sequence.
And the trailer.
Like that beautiful intro sequences, which just looks amazing. Like I love that. Shows the fungus growing. Like that should be all you need.
I don't know, man. I mean, you know me. I like to give people credit, but at the same time, it's like we live in a day and age where cats are barely paying attention to it. Like if they watch the intro section at all, they're not paying that close of attention to what's happening in it. You know what I mean?
Well, isn't it their fault at that point?
I wouldn't say it's their fault, but oh yeah, Black Compat in chat says not everyone checking out the show may have played the game. I'm with Mayor on this one, but the thing is, it's you don't need to tell them. Let it be a little bit of a mystery, like you know, let it be like Lost. Only they know where it's going. You know, like what happened to like. And going just giving something and just going for the ride in television, like you know, we rode with Twin Peaks. We rode with Twin Peaks Revival. We went with Lost, and we didn't know where it was going. You know, so it's like you don't. I felt it wasn't necessary. Now, I liked it. I liked the look of it. I liked the way the doom. It kind of reminded me of that scene in Watchmen where it's like, yeah. We do have God and he's American. You know, like it kind of gave me that vibe. But what I didn't like is that it was Big Head being the moderator at this consortium. Like the dude moderating is this actor and he's Big Head from Silicon Valley and he's like the dopey assistant from Marin. So it's like to me he's typecast as that character. Like what the fuck is he doing here in Switzerland? or wherever this takes place. Yeah. So that threw me off that it was big. Even Emily's like, "Is that Big Head?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's Big Head." Look, I'm happy he's getting work like that, but don't put him in that.
Yeah. But that's fair. I mean, like, and don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that they couldn't have figured out a different way to do it. Even though personally, I liked it just because. I mean, I thought it was well done, and I liked that it was like it wasn't something that was contemporary, but it was something from the past,
Yeah,
and so
stylized, yeah.
yeah, so it gives you the same information, but there's not a part of you that feels like, oh, this is something that everybody has access to in the time when the TV show takes place, because it's just somebody talking about it from the past. You know what I mean?
In fact, Larry,
But
shout out to Black Combat, because remember how I said how I didn't play the game? I just watched somebody do it, and
yeah,
it was on their channel on Twitch.
there it is. Hey, look, Let's Plays with Black and Pat. Check out their live streams. Look, I know that I had to stop watching one of them because they were playing God of War, and I was like, I'm gonna play that. I was like, I don't want to watch them play it because I'm gonna play that, but I haven't played it yet, so maybe I should have watched them play that. Anyway, look, my backlog. Let's not talk about that. That's something that's truly scary. We don't want to talk about that.
You're still on the Citadel on the PS5.
Exactly. But so how did you all feel about the performances? Mo, how did you feel? I mean, I know you said, you already kind of mentioned, Pedro Pascal. How'd you feel about the young lady that played Ellie?
She looks eerily, weirdly, polygony, creepy in the face, like in the game. So, but she definitely, like, I mean, when she played that scene where she's like, look at these bites, like she's in distress, like she really, the performances are well done. So
yeah.
I definitely, like, yeah, I like the show. I'm in for it. Like, I do feel like the game was cinematic enough that it didn't need a TV show adaptation. So it just depends on where they're gonna change it,
Bella Ramsey is the name of the young lady playing Ellie, and Pedro Pascal plays Joel. How do you feel about how he looks? Does he fit the character? Based on what you all remember.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. That's what you'd get.
Kinda. I mean, he definitely doesn't have the voice.
Yeah.
But
I haven't played the game, so what's his voice sound like?
I felt it was close enough myself, but I actually just watched somebody play it. Like, actually playing it, you get more of a connection, I assume,
Yeah, it's a little more like a little more overbearing.
Okay. Do you by chance happen to know who the voice actor is for it?
I could look it up.
While you're looking,
I wonder if they look anything like the guy.
A little bit, and he said, because I think it was the same motion capture guy, and he was talking about how they're not gonna like Pedro Pascal's version. Like, that was one of his statements. But
oh yeah, why is that?
Was Troy Baker, Black Combat says. I don't know. He just said they're gonna like him better. Like they like Troy Baker better. That he was confident, I guess, that they would like him better than Pedro Pascal.
I mean, Troy Baker is fantastic. Like, he's real good at everything he does. So that's a tough, like, if you're like, oh well, somebody doesn't sound like Troy Baker, it's like, oh no, I believe you. You're right. Like, look, and the funny thing is, like, the dude can do, like, he has a range too. So, but Troy Baker looks nothing like Joel. Like, if I'm remembering correctly, like Troy Baker Yeah, doesn't look anything like Joel if I'm remembering correctly. So yeah. Um, like, did you have any issues, Moses, with the time jump?
No, because I know that like the show is like, I mean, they said he was 36, and I knew the girl was gonna die, so I knew like the main story is really gonna be further along. Like, we're not gonna watch the world crumble, we're gonna watch the people survive after, like, once it's already done. So I already knew the time jump was coming. So it's not like my issue with time jumps are more for like when they use them for plot convenience, like when the show takes 3 seasons to tell you one story, and then the 4th season takes place like 5 years later. That's when I hate it, because it's like, that's stupid, you know. At least give me a comic book series that fills in the gap, like what happened there, you know. But that's when I don't like it. And then like the way they did it here, it's like it's just, that's part of the story. Like, I understand that, yeah.
Okay. And as it relates to, like, Jay, I'll direct this question to you. As it relates to what the game itself was like in regards to like gameplay and creating atmosphere, and I know Mo spoke to this a little bit, but do you feel like does it set a similar tone, or is it doing its own thing in a different way?
It's mostly doing its own thing. All the daylight stuff didn't happen. But like the nighttime stuff was like pretty spot on. I almost wish they had done that from like a first person viewpoint. I think that would have been a little better.
The night stuff?
Yeah, well, like the truck, when they're in the truck.
Oh, similar to that, you're saying?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
I think that's what I said.
But Last of Us isn't first person though, right?
Well, I mean, they should have did the truck scene that way.
They should have done it in first person?
Yeah.
Okay, but that's not like the game though, right?
True.
Okay. I'm just making sure that I'm understanding. Okay, cool.
But that would have been more immersive.
Like, they made it feel like you're sitting next to the girl in the back seat instead of you're the girl in the back seat. But it's still, I felt it was still just as immersive the way it was.
Yeah. I mean, I liked it, and it was definitely in a tense time. It's like when I can watch something, and as the person watching it, I'm looking at like the decisions that people are making, and I can kind of feel like, oh, okay, like, man, it's like when it doesn't feel like there are any good choices, where you're just like, oh man, like they're just kind of screwed. Like, I don't know where they should go. I don't know. Like, that makes me feel like, oh, like somebody's doing a good job of things, because like how many times have we all been watching a movie or a television show, and you're like, why don't you just do this? And sometimes they do it, but a lot of times they don't. And it's just like, you're just like, why would you do this? Like, why would you do it that way? You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, it seems so obvious. And then, sometimes that solution does end up coming into things, and you're just like, okay, well, whatever, But when you watch, like, I know I was watching what was happening in that moment, and they were just like, oh, it's like, feels like it's happening everywhere, and they're like trying to figure out where to go and how to get away from people. And I was just like, dude, like, the dude's friend is driving this truck through the city trying to get out, you know what I'm saying? But it feels like they're getting cut off at every angle, and it's just like, yeah, man, like, that's messed up. And I'm just like, these fools are just trying to make choices as best they can, and they don't have any good options, and it sucks.
Black Compass says, listen, I cried when I went through this opening when I played the game, and I cried when I watched it unfold when I watched the episode. So I was pleasantly surprised by the show.
Dang.
I can give you that. Like, honestly, I'm probably being too hard on the show. Because it's different. And I don't like different. At least sometimes. Sometimes different is fine, but
yeah,
I don't know. Sometimes it's like, why not be the same?
Hey, I hear that.
Yeah. So I think I was being a little too hard on the show when I was watching it. Especially all the stuff with the daughter, because I knew she was going to die. So it's like, why am I spending so much time with this corpse?
No, but but that's the thing though. So I didn't know that was going to happen. And so I know for myself, I was just like, watching this little girl, and I was like, because I had seen the preview, I'm like, I know that this isn't the little girl that's in the show, but I was just like, okay, let's see what happens, and sure enough, like that time, which is not that much time in the grand scheme of things, but I can understand from your perspective where you're like, dude, like this isn't a main character, but like, again, as somebody that hasn't, like, I didn't know that, like, I was invested in her getting out and making it through. And then when she didn't, I was just like, damn. I was like, dude, they got her. And that was the thing where I'm like, dang, she didn't even get killed, by one of the things. She got killed by a person. And I was like, man, that's messed up.
That's interesting.
In Last of Us.
What you just expressed was exactly how I felt playing the game. Because like I see her like, oh, she's not the girl from the box. So
right.
What's her deal?
Right.
And it's like you're going through. And it's like, oh, that's her deal. Ooh.
Yeah, man. And home chick that played her, that's the young lady's name is Storm Reed.
She really Storm Reed?
What? You don't like that name?
It's like they're trying to make a superhero.
Like, hey, I mean, I'm sure it probably is a stage name, but hey, But Storm Reed, is her name. Great. Yeah, she's fantastic.
Yeah.
Like I was fully vested. And it set the tone so well, because now when we do this time jump, I'm like, oh yeah, like I totally get why this fool is like all grizzled. You know what I'm saying? Like he's like, dude, he's like, F this world.
And the thing is, he was kind of grizzled to begin with. They just you don't see enough of that, but you can see it like in the way he handles his work and everything. And then it just says like Desert Storm Vet. Once you see that, it's like, okay, that's like the modern Vietnam vet. Yeah, it's like desert lung disease. Yeah.
Yeah. And it totally sets the tone for the ending of the episode. Where you're just like, oh yeah, like this, look, like you can't even be mad at it, of like how, like, and it's a really interesting kind of juxtaposition between the scene, that scene in the beginning, and then this scene at the end, where you're just like, oh man, it's crazy. Like, so yeah, it does a good job. But that's really interesting, Jay. Like it's like I mean, I guess that's a testament to the show that we basically had the same experience, but in different mediums.
Right.
Yeah.
And me, like I'm kind of with Black Compat here. Like I knew what was happening, and I was like, this ride was a little like, even though it was similar, it hit the same beats. They gave you a little more. Like they actually show you her getting the watch fixed and stuff on the TV show. In the game, they don't. And even like running through the city or like trying to get through the city in the show, it's a little longer. But there's like some shots, like when they hit the fork in the road, it's like the same exact fork or Louis Ranch, like it's the same thing, and it's like, and even the dialogue's the same. I'm like, fuck, it's like you feels like the game opening, and for this is, if that's all they did, like I like it, like that, that made me feel like it. Like, from here on, we can, it'll just be kind of like how that first Walking Dead episode, I guess like that's pretty much like the comic. All right, yeah, look, that's good. I'm in. Yeah. Definitely.
Well,
like,
okay.
Yeah, it's definitely one of like the better HBO shows that we reviewed this week.
Yes, it would definitely be the better of the HBO shows that we reviewed this week. You're right. So okay, like look, anything else you all want to say before we rate it? Okay, I'm gonna say that. Take that as a no. Look, so Jay, what would you rate The Last of Us?
I would definitely give it like a 3. I feel like a 3 for right now. I want to see where it goes from here.
Okay. Look, you gave Velma a 3.5, right?
No, I gave Velma a 3.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. There it is. Okay, well, look, definitely, I can't say it is definitely better than the HBO shows that we watched today for Jay, because it's about the same. We're gonna see. We're gonna see where they go. That's fair. Okay, Moses Magnum.
Velma did have a fair amount of awesome violence.
Moses Magnum, what would you rate The Last of Us?
This is a 4.5. The premiere definitely 4.5. It's my only like criticism, but it's not even a real criticism. Is like, the game itself is a cinematic type of adventure game, and it's almost like you could literally just watch the game and feel like you're watching a movie, and so it's like it feels like, oh, that's a waste of resources here. But I don't know who would ever watch a game for a story, on YouTube. I know I do that, but yeah, I do that too. But you're not gonna get those numbers, like
there's just some games I'm not gonna play through.
Right.
Yeah.
Or some
for
like I want to
reason
play
or another.
Yeah. Sometimes I just want to play it. I even if I play the game, like I just want to watch it and experience it without the stress of playing. Yeah. That's how I do Dark Souls.
You did what?
That's how I do Dark Souls.
Yeah. So as for myself, I would rate The Last of Us. I give it a 4.5 as well. I really liked it. It was real good. I'm excited to see what happens next and how the story will unfold. Do you all have any idea how long the next episode is going to be? Like, is it like, I know this one was like 120 minutes, right?
Yeah, I think they're probably about 45, 50 minutes.
And it was just the premiere that was like a long one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I heard that they're expanding the story beyond the games too. So that might be. We'll see how that goes.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Doesn't change.
Well, it did take. In between games took a long time, right?
Fair amount of time, I think.
Yeah, so they got to have this be the next hit in 18 months. Yeah, so it's like Yeah, so, and then after that, what are they gonna do? So usually that's where everything starts falling apart for me. But we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. So okay, cool. We got a little bit of time left before we get out of here. Do you all want to talk? Um, you all want to talk about any books or whatnot that you all might have read this past week?
I didn't read anything, but I saw in the news that domestic violence is in style again, and
It's in style.
yeah, a lot of stories involving domestic violence.
Oh,
I got
are there comic?
Justin Roiland, the dude from co-creator of Rick and Morty and Solar Opposites,
Mm-hmm.
like he getting tried for some stuff. I don't know how
Yeah.
bad it is,
When did
but
he start, or when did he participate in the whole domestic violence thing? How long
so that
ago?
was in apparently 2020. But I guess
Oh,
with COVID and stuff, they didn't do any trials or anything till now. So he's going to court now. He should have gone to
that's
France.
crazy. He should have gone to France.
Yeah, that way you don't have to deal with court or anything.
Yeah, it's crazy because his game just came out and was doing pretty
Which one?
well.
Trover?
Yeah, yeah.
That came out in
What?
2020.
Wait, which one?
Trover Saves the Universe?
Oh no,
No.
not that one.
High on Life.
Oh,
Yeah,
High
High
on
on
Life.
Life. Yeah, and no, it was doing like people are liking it, and it seemed like it was doing pretty well. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, you know how it can be sometimes. Like, I don't know that this will necessarily affect that over there, but
I mean, people
he's
get
not.
canceled and shit. Like, I don't know. Who knows? But in the gaming space,
Yeah,
sometimes
exactly.
these gaming
Right.
dudes,
Yeah.
they might applaud him as hard as he slapped that girl.
Yeah.
And then your homegirl was caught up on it too, man, in this domestic violence.
My homegirl?
Yeah, Dana White.
Why do you keep calling the Dana White a homegirl?
Dana's a girl's name.
Okay. All right.
Like he you always say, "Oh, he'll slap you for that." You slap every time I say that. Apparently, I have to marry him for him to slap me.
Oh, geez. Okay, there it is. It's like he'll slap you till you love him.
Yeah. Like, I'm not his wife.
And
I'll hit.
I will say that that whole thing has been very disappointing. Like just the way it's seemingly being handled, and it's just like, yeah, like I don't know. It's like there's a part of me that almost wishes he hadn't said anything at all about it. Like don't get me wrong.
Oh, he commented. I haven't read any of the commentary that he did. Like, did he make a statement?
Yeah, he made like some comments about it, just saying like because people were asking like, hey, like what's gonna be like the fallout from this? Like, what's the punishment? And he basically was like, oh well, like the punishment is, I'm gonna be known as a woman beater, and it's like I'm gonna have to live with that. And the cats are like, what? Like, it's like that doesn't sound like the kind of punishment that like that doesn't sound like. I mean, that is a consequence of what you did, but that doesn't sound like a punishment. That's just like a part of it. So like because I think people were like, hey, is he gonna have to step down? Is he gonna get suspended? Is he like what's the deal? And like, no.
I mean, why should he be stepped down or any of that?
I mean, it's
Like you're literally
most. Mm-hmm.
it's a sport where when they couldn't fight anywhere because of a global pandemic, they were starting Fight Island. Like, why
Yeah.
would you not expect that the head guy would beat his wife and nothing come of it?
Well, I mean, but you can't conflate the two things. Like, two people choosing two people choosing to fight each other is a completely different thing than domestic violence.
No, it's definitely different than domestic violence, but the need to enjoy a barbaric act like that, like nobody that's a fan of his would want to hold him to a higher standard than to not beat his wife.
Oh, I disagree with that 100%. Like,
You
you can
do.
enjoy combat sport. You can enjoy combat sports and be like, wife beaters shouldn't be a part of it.
Look, I think you have. It's almost requirement to be in the sport, judging from these people's rap sheets. You know,
what are you talking about? Like,
you
feel like there's more people. The more people that beat their spouses in the UFC than in, say, the NFL.
No, but I'm against the NFL too.
Well,
like, I talk about them the same way too. Like, it's not like you're literally watching dudes but bang their heads together and give themselves dementia. All of a sudden, you're mad that they'll take a knee for a flag. Like, you're literally watching them destroy their brains. You're okay with that, but you're not okay with them kneeling down. Fuck you. You know?
Yeah, but that's a whole. What's that? I don't even. What's that have to do with domestic violence?
Well, that's the thing is, it's like I don't expect these people to be decent people that do this for a living, whether it's football or UFC.
Wait, why not?
And I don't because they're not hired on their moral. Like, they're hired to essentially destroy their opponent. Like, you don't need sensitive people for this job.
I mean, so it's because it's more violent. Like, the more violent the sport, the more likely that the person's potential to commit violence. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely, yeah.
So you feel like tennis players are probably less likely to beat their wives than
they might hit them with a paddle, not with a. But the thing is, it's, they're like, okay, if she blocks it, it's like, okay, 40 love, but it's not, I can't see Andre Agassi like stomping somebody at all, whether it's his wife or not. I know he did. I think he did smack around Brooke Shields or something, but I've heard Brooke Shields talk. I kind of wanted to do that
too. See, all right, you're about to get yourself canceled.
Look, hey, again, to talk this amount of shit for 2 hours, there's a certain type of asshole requirement.
Yeah.
At least 25% of the group needs to be on it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't feel like I mean, don't get me wrong. I get where you're coming from. Where, like, I don't feel like there's a certain amount of aggression that maybe you need to bring to a fight or a football field in order to maybe.
Yeah. So you think there's
maybe
method fighting in UFC?
Well, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is this: like, I don't think. Well, there's a lot of fighters in, like, say, UFC specific, in mixed martial arts in general. I feel like most of them don't participate in domestic violence. And so it's just like, I don't know that one has anything to do with the other. I mean, especially considering, like, there's so many people that are just out in the world. Like, they're cats that are accountants that are beating their wives. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know. I don't make any correlation between the two personally.
But the concentration in Lieberman and Loeb accounting firm of wife beaters compared to what is it? Tap Out or what's the league? Maybe not UFC, but the other one, like, you don't think there'd be a higher concentration in the fighting league than an accounting firm?
I mean, I don't know that to be the case. Like, I can see why you would feel that way because you're like they throw. But at the same time, it's like when I think about many martial artists, many of them have control.
Yeah,
you know
but
what I'm saying?
These aren't necessarily martial artists. They're street fighters with a little bit of guidance.
I mean, not at that level. Like, I don't feel like I don't think
their discipline plays a part in them winning these matches. Like, this is like
I
I've
disagree.
on their face. They're not method fighting. These motherfuckers are angry. Like, if they didn't have a guy in the octagon, they'd be probably biting their mother's heads off.
I disagree. I think like Kimbo Slice was like a backyard brawler, right? And like I feel like that's more like what you're talking about when you say like somebody that's just naturally aggressive and can like he's like when you say backyard brawler with guidance, like that's Kimbo Slice, and
he didn't have guidance.
How does he not have guidance?
He didn't have guidance.
Oh, okay. I'm just saying, like, but he failed. Like, I'm just like, like I think that's like, yeah. And I'm not saying Kimbo Slice has ever hit a woman because I don't know that he has.
We don't know yet, but I'm sure he has.
I mean, well, he's dead now, so probably not gonna find out. But
speaking of
dead, but the fact is, I don't know. I think it's just like anything else, where it's easy to make that correlation. I think when you were talking about people that have like do aggressive things for a living, but the sad fact of the matter is they're just messed up dudes out there that for some reason feel like it's okay for them to put their hands on people when they want to, whether they be men or women. And it's not cool. Yeah, it's not cool at all. So it sucks. I hope there is some kind of consequence, and it's one of those things where it's like, I don't like. I know that if like Dana White stepping away from the UFC is like something that would hurt that brand. You know what I'm saying? Like that would it's bad for business for him to be away, even for a month, or 2 weeks or whatever. It's bad for business. But it should happen just because you have to set a precedent, like a tone where it's like, well, this is what like there's consequences to this. And if there's no consequences and if people aren't held accountable, then it's like the next time somebody in the UFC does something like this, they're going to be like, well, why should I get suspended? But Dana didn't get suspended. You know what I mean? It's messed up. And like, it's messed up that he feels like that's okay himself. Like as a leader, he should want to set that example. You know what I'm saying? Like he should want to be the person that's like, man, I got to take this hit. And you just figure it out. You know what I'm saying? But they're not doing that.
I don't think he's ready to take any hit. He's willing to just hit.
Yeah. Damn. Jay, what about you, man?
When I saw that news story, I got so gleeful. I gotta hit Larry up. I don't care if he's on East Coast time.
Why did you get gleeful?
Because it just adds to my compounding evidence of what I believe, or at least the shit I talk about MMA and UFC.
Oh, yeah.
It's not really what I feel because I don't really care, but I like I like talking shit to MMA fans.
Yeah. Well, listen, most MMA fans, you're right. Like, like they can't like they'll lose their mind messing around and having someone like you say all that kind of stuff. Where there's
like I'll kick your ass. Like yeah, you will, but you're still latently homosexual, and they get so.
Jay, anything you want to talk about before we get out of here?
Yeah, got a Mo deal for you. If you go on Steam, you can grab Friday the 13th Killer Puzzles for free until I believe January 23rd, when the game will be delisted and unavailable for purchase anywhere.
Yeah, okay. What is that, like an actual puzzle game?
I believe so.
You have any idea what the gameplay is like? That's fair.
I haven't played it yet.
Nah, I have to go look. Friday the 13th puzzle game. That's wild. Oh, okay. Jason Collins. No, Jay, why did this fool? Wait a minute. He's like 2 hours. I'm out. That's my contract.
You got him to stay 6 seconds over. I mean, he's got some union fines to pay.
I was like, oh, Shrek. Okay, well, damn. Let's get out of here, Bo.
I was going to tell him.
310. 310.
I was going to tell him
310-538-3198.
Sorry. One of my cables is apparently the screen thinks that cable is my finger.
Yes, I see that now. That's really interesting. Point at the camera with your finger. Oh, okay. Look, I was thinking maybe it might refocus on your actual finger, but it didn't do that. It's okay, Bo. There you go. You got it. Boom. Perfect.
A whole mess. I yeah. Now I can play the music. Hold on.
Oh, is it now?
Because it messed up my soundboard. I'm like, wow.
Oh.
The cable actually brought in that phone number button that we haven't used in years.
Right.
So it literally like right clicked on the screen as soon as I opened the window, because it was fine on everything else the whole show until I opened that window. So let's see here. Okay.
There it is. All right, Moses Magnum. Final thoughts, buddy.
Man, just the usual. Just the like, subscribe, hit the bell. If you like what we're doing, let us know in the comments. And if you don't like it, let us know too. I know I like to say shit that sometimes people don't like.
Indeed. So, folks, thank you for hanging out with us. And I will say, since it's just me and Moses, I got time to give a final thought. If you're an X-Men fan, read Immortal X-Men. It's awesome. And this last issue leads into the Sins of Sinister event. And yeah, it was a doozy, man. I love it. Kieran Gillen is killing it. So mess with that joint. We do appreciate you. We'll be back next week. If you want to go ahead and hit us up, let us know what you like, what you don't like. We will appreciate it. Yeah, we're the Fantastic Forum. Have a good night.